Marina Mabrey has now come forward and said she overreacted.
Now, we know Marina Mabrey had a situation with Caitlin Clark.
If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you absolutely know the Marina Mabrey Caitlin Clark situation. She shoved her to the ground, and it made national news.
Marina Mabrey to come up and shove Clark to the ground.
Marina Mabrey, that slimeball, viciously attacked Caitlin Clark, blindsided her like in a football game.
In a shove, it was, I'm going to drive my entire body.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't. When you assaulted Caitlin Clark, Marina.
Not a shove, but drove her entire body into her asterisk, the now infamous Marina Mabrey hit on Caitlin Clark.
The Marina Mabrey Caitlin Clark situation.
If you've been watching for any length of time, you already know about the Marina Mabrey Caitlin Clark situation.
Caitlin Clark's civil rights possible lawsuit is heating up. We're getting reactions from WNBA players, one being Marina Mabrey.
This moment is at the center of why the league is facing serious questions, and why Mabrey's name is now in the spotlight for possible disciplinary action.
Look at this. Marina Mabrey admits she overreacted, shoving Caitlin Clark. Overreacted.
Perhaps the most infamous moment of the 2025 WNBA season came on June 17th during a matchup between the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun.
Marina Mabrey, that slime ball that viciously attacked Caitlin Clark, blindsided her.
Marina Mabrey viciously blindsided Caitlin Clark, hitting her with a force more fitting for a football game than basketball.
So yeah, perhaps those infamous moment came on June 17th, yeah?
On June 17th. During the third quarter, Clark and Sheldon got tangled up in a brief scuffle, but it was what happened next that defined the game.
And I believe that Mabrey now, that is Marina, is in a bit of a panic.
Out of several incidents cited, 3 stood out for not being legitimate basketball plays, one of them being the now infamous Marina Mabrey hit on Caitlin Clark.
Now, we know Marina Mabrey had a situation with Caitlin Clark.
Marina Mabrey's shove on Caitlin Clark didn't just make highlight reels, it made national news.
Perhaps the most infamous moment of 2025. The most infamous. This was y'all claim to fame this year.
In the third quarter, after Caitlin Clark was poked in the eye by J.C. Sheldon, tensions escalated fast.
She has come out and spoke about the situation with Caitlin Clark and her assaulting her.
The act was unnecessary and widely condemned by analysts and fans. Coming from a veteran player, it added fuel to claims that Clark is being deliberately targeted by certain opponents.
The moment came in the third quarter. Actually, you know what? In my opinion, the Sophie Cunningham thing is as infamous.
On June 17th. During the third quarter, Clark and Sheldon got tangled up in a brief scuffle, but it was what happened next that defined the game.
Caitlin Clark and a hostile work environment in the WNBA.
This all ties back to a growing narrative about a hostile work environment in the WNBA, which recently gained national traction.
She shoved her to the ground, and it made national news.
The incident happened during a heated game and quickly became part of a broader conversation about how Clark has been treated since entering the league.
There's literally nothing to talk about with y'all besides this and y'all possibly going to Massachusetts. That's it. Y'all literally have stunk up an entire season.
That's when Marina Mabrey ran in and shoved Clark to the ground, triggering a wave of technical fouls and weeks of heated discussion about her treatment in the league.
It says Marina Mabrey admits she overreacted, shoving Caitlin Clark.
The shove wasn't during active play. It was a calculated hit that violated the spirit of the game.
This led to a brief scuffle between Clark and Sheldon, which prompted Connecticut veteran
Marina Mabrey stormed in and shoved Clark hard to the ground, igniting several technical fouls and weeks of debate.
That was an article that went mega viral, by the way.
The discussion blew up after a Wall Street Journal piece, with media figures across Fox News and sports pundit circles weighing in.
Hence, part of the reason why I believe Caitlin Clark got hurt early on.
Critics point out that moments like these send a message to other teams that Clark is a target, something that could have long-term consequences for her safety.
Perhaps the most infamous moment of the 2025 WNBA season came on June 17th during the game between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun.
The shove didn't just stir up fan outrage, it sparked debates about whether the league is doing enough to protect its star players.
2 days after the shove heard about the women's basketball world, Mabrey was heard saying, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't," when addressing a commentator.
This single act is a big reason why talk of a hostile environment, league intervention, and now suspension has blown up across sports media. Fans and analysts have described it as one of the most blatant acts of targeting seen this season.
Marina Mabrey to come up and shove Caitlin to the ground. This not only inside several technical fouls and weeks of heated discussion about how Caitlin Clark is treated by peers afterwards.
She pretty much instilled into the rest of the league.
It's one of the clearest examples fueling talk of investigations and even civil rights discussions.
The moment came in the third quarter after star Fever guard Caitlin Clark was poked in the eye by Sun guard J.C. Sheldon,
leading directly into today's suspension and investigation headlines.
But it prompted Fever enforcer Sophie Cunningham to essentially start a brawl.
The reaction from this single play has snowballed, feeding into the larger narrative of investigations and disciplinary actions now hovering over Mabrey's career.
Hey, you know what? It's a green light and still attacking Caitlin Clark. Y'all can get away with it.
And it's exactly why Mabrey's actions are now being reviewed under a much harsher lens.
Mabrey gets honest. 2 days after the shove, heard around the women's basketball world, Mabrey was heard saying, quote, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't."
2 days after the shove, Marina Mabrey addressed the incident in an Instagram live, telling a commenter, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't."
Overreacted? I feel like you're trying to cover your ass because now they're talking about investigation.
Some see Mabrey's overreaction. Claim is nothing more than an attempt to protect herself from the growing investigation.
I thought it only got upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of the way the fans reacted to it, Mabrey said.
In her own words, Mabrey claimed the foul only escalated because of fan backlash and said she and Clark had history from a playoff game, where Clark allegedly threw her into the benches.
And guys, I don't believe she got ejected from the game for that, if my recollections is right.
When speaking about the incident, Mabrey doubled down on her belief that the flagrant call was only influenced by fan perception.
That's a really weird way to respond to it.
Mabrey's explanation also drew attention, because she admitted to probably overreacting a little bit, but followed it with a defense that she was protecting her teammate.
When addressing a commentator on the Instagram live stream who called her out for shoving Clark,
she later expanded in an interview, claiming the foul only became a flagrant 2 because of how fans reacted.
And now you're terrified. Now you're scared. Now you're shook. That was the real you. You're a snake. It is what it is.
In the game before the shove, she had been friendly with Clark, even interrupting her autograph session to hug her.
On the shove on Clark, "They gave me a tech for it initially. I don't care. Honestly, I really don't."
She painted herself as a competitor, defending her teammate from being hit, adding that it wasn't out of hatred.
She concluded with, so at the end of the day, it was a play on the ball when she did it.
She claimed she didn't care about the foul itself and wasn't targeting Clark personally. Yet, she still brought up the prior playoff encounter, framing it as justification for her reaction.
Because she didn't see what was happening. Like, that was one of the things people noticed with the new footage. Marina Mabrey had her back turned.
The footage, however, shows Clark walking away from J.C. Sheldon, not engaged in a heated clash.
Mabrey has since opened up about the shove that has impacted her relationship with Clark during an August 10 interview.
Mabrey insisted she wasn't trying to hurt anyone and framed the shove as defending a teammate.
The game before that, when you saw Clark, you stopped her from signing autographs so you could hug her.
That's why fans were shocked to see her aggressively knock Clark to the ground days later.
Obviously, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to go after certain players for certain SHIT.
But many believe this is a revisionist version of events.
And I probably overreacted just a little bit, but teammates is getting hit, and I'm not okay with that.
To many, this mix of denial and justification reveals she isn't truly remorseful.
Like, she genuinely had her back turned. And she had also, am I right in saying that she swung a swinging back fist at Aaliyah Boston?
That gap between her statement and the visual evidence is why so many see her comments as hollow.
So she's saying that, I guess maybe she got along with Clark, now she doesn't? With Sportskeeda's Mark Medina.
However, critics note that at the time of the incident, there was no active basketball play, making her defense questionable.
Now, all of a sudden, fast forward to the Connecticut game, she got Sheldon over here.
Observers accuse Mabrey of showing her real side and argued that the fear of suspension, or worse, is now driving her public statements.
She said, "Me and Caitlin were cool." She added, "Me and Caitlin have competed against each other in the playoffs. She threw me into the benches in the quarterfinals."
Critics point out that the shove was not in the heat of active play. It was a calculated hit, which undermines her play on the ball argument.
It was like, I hate her here. I hate her here. I do. I don't do stuff like that.
With the suspension news and investigation talk spreading, her words are being dissected as much as the shove itself.
She did overreact. I'm surprised she she said that. I am surprised she said it, honestly.
The disconnect has only intensified demands for the league to step in decisively, which now appears to be happening with suspension and investigation measures.
Quote, I thought it only got upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of the way the fans reacted to it.
These comments have been widely interpreted as damage control. Now that league discipline and even government interest are being discussed.
You're knocking her to the ground. Tina Charles is wagging her finger at her like she's her mom.
The shift from lighthearted moments to violent confrontation has fueled calls for accountability.
We didn't go after her for it. She's competitive. I was about to get the ball. I get it. Throw me out of bounds. We got back and kept competing.
That level of exposure raises the stakes, as this is no longer just about a suspension, it's about how the league manages.
Everybody knows that I've done that before.
Are openly connecting the shove to a larger pattern of what they call a green light to target Clark. Some allege league leadership, including Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has failed to curb physical play against the rookie.
Said something, so at the end of the day, he's playing the ball, and I probably overreacted.
It's now been discussed on national TV programs like Outnumbered on Fox News, sparking debate over whether the WNBA has allowed a hostile environment to develop.
Mabrey said of the shove on Clark, they gave me a technical for it. Initially, I don't care, honestly. I really don't.
The Wall Street Journal's coverage of Clark's treatment, including the Mabrey incident, has blown the story far beyond sports circles.
Something that's what y'all do. Y'all only won 5 games this season. I mean, what else y'all been doing this year?
Commentators argue that if higher authorities decide to get involved, Mabrey will likely be one of the first called to explain her actions in front of officials.
So basically, she said she got revenge on Caitlyn throwing her to the stands, even though I thought she got revenge by, going at Caitlyn.
The Mabrey shove is now symbolic of that failure, prompting talk of investigations from people higher than Kathy, meaning possible outside intervention.
It's just a weird situation because it seems simultaneously like it's, I overreacted, but also, you know what, I do it again.
11 months after the game, the Mabrey shove is still being discussed, a rarity in pro sports where news cycles move quickly.
The highlight for the Connecticut Sun was injuring Caitlin Clark.
Analysts note that the sustained attention proves how much this single moment encapsulates the larger issue of how Clark is treated.
It is what it is. I don't think JC Sheldon's a teammate of Marina Mabrey. I don't think they hate each other.
With suspension news breaking and investigations ramping up, the incident has become a rallying point for both sides, those demanding stricter league enforcement and those defending physical, old-school play.
Me and Caitlyn were cool. Me and Caitlyn have competed against each other in the playoffs.
The longer this conversation continues, the more it cements Mabrey's role in one of the most controversial chapters of the WNBA's recent history.
But the league is scared of its players because of, and I'm going to keep it real, social and political agendas.
The league is scared of its players. Federal government may make you touch it.
And I'm glad the higher ups, people higher than Kathy, are now talking about investigations.
If this lawsuit thing goes the way I think it's going to go, and that's mean Caitlin Clark is possibly going to bankrupt the league.
They are talking about this girl's civil rights being violated. The higher-ups are now talking about investigations. Stephen A. Smith, major platforms are now talking now, is what it is. But that's a massive understatement. Forget to like, subscribe, and share for more WNBA updates.